Lindsay Mask with Mask Media Company, and we are visiting tonight Ricchi, which is a Tuscan Italian restaurant in the middle of DuPont Circle, Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are actually at Ricchi. It's an authentic Tuscan Italian restaurant slash experience because the ambiance here is so phenomenal. And Chris is actually the owner and founder of the restaurant. You lived in Italy for 17 years, am I right?
Oh, I did.
And she took some of that here to Washington, D.C., and she's trying to share that with all of us here. Tell us a little bit about Ricchi.
Well, it started about 25 years ago when I was living in Italy, and I had experienced while I was there this phenomenal cuisine that I, having grown up in New York, thinking I knew everything about Italian food, I had never experienced anything like that. So after having been there for several years, I said, this is something that could really work in the United States. And at that time, people were just opening themselves up to new experiences with regards to cuisine. So it was about the right time to come. And we did. We opened about 25 years ago, and we were embraced by the Washington community. And we've been here going strong ever since.
So we're not only highlighting this restaurant, but it's because of the experience that she's brought to Washington, D.C. that Tony reconnected with Chris and is hosting an event here this evening, which is a networking event largely, and I'll let you talk more about that.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a native Washingtonian, so I was very aware of Ricchi being here, and as most of your community knows, in the hospitality business, it's typically a very short shelf life. So to have an executive chef and entrepreneur being here successfully for over 20 years is a majestic achievement. So I was drawn to that because I'm a business person. I love entrepreneurship and great business stories. I was drawn to that. But what happened was my firm, Navigant, which is a global consulting firm, moved next door. We love our new building, and we love our new neighbors, and one of those great neighbors is Chris. So I had a conversation with Chris one day, and we talked about bringing some energy to the neighborhood, bringing together folks who wouldn't ordinarily meet, and she embraced that. We talked about female entrepreneurs and businesswomen and bringing them into the fold, and it became a natural. Chris suggested, on a day where there's blue skies and low humidity, let's send out an invitation impromptu. So we thought, let's call it an impromptu lounge.
And it's actually been pretty phenomenal to see, by sending out these invitations via Facebook, to see the response. Now, I have to say, I'm a real newcomer to Facebook. And it's only been within the last 3 or 4 weeks that I've really become involved in and really increased my community. And it's phenomenal the response that I've been seeing. People want to connect. People want to get together.
It's true. And actually, so before we started the actual interview, all of our conversations, I was thinking, gosh, I'm at a table, all three of us are connectors in every sense of the word, and we're just trying to help bring the right people together. And I found that so fascinating, that you two reconnected, that we've connected, that now we're connected, and that you enjoy most that in your pulling these people together, that they are coming from different places. So I'd like to just ask, in your opinion, what's the value of bringing in all these different elements to one place? What's the value?
Well, I can say professionally for me, it's been an incredible way for me to increase my visibility, to present myself to a group of diners or a group of people that either had never heard of us, had never been here before, or who hadn't been here in a very long time. So this has been perfect for us to bring people back to say, oh yeah, I remember that place, and oh yes, I remember the food's really good. And so we find that we refresh people's memories and they start coming back. So professionally for me, it's been an absolute win.
Yeah.
But also on a personal level, I've had an opportunity to really branch out and meet people that I would never have met otherwise. I spend all of my time in the restaurant, if not in the front of the house, in the back of the house, in the kitchen. And Tony really has opened up for me a universe of new connections, of new relationships. And through this, even indirectly, that's how I met you.
Right.
And things are building from that.
Right.
It's very exciting.
It is exciting. And how long have you been doing the Impromptu Lounge or something similar to that?
Well, as I mentioned, I've been doing it since late 2006.
Yeah.
And with Chris, we began doing it late spring, early summer this year. And what I've learned is that irrespective of our businesses, there's good karma in helping others and connecting people. So I'm an executive in a professional services firm,
Right.
and we deal with huge clients and huge law firms. However, it's all about connectivity, building relationships, and being seen as someone who will be selfless and help others first. So it's very consistent with my mindset for business to co-host something like this with Chris. We're bringing people together and we're making introductions, and you never know what magic might happen when the president of a university, that woman gets to meet a struggling artist, gets to meet a high-flying entrepreneur, a technology entrepreneur, et cetera, et cetera. And when they get to do it in Chris Ricchi's house, there's just good stuff that happens. It's a great experience. It's building community, and it's building a very tight and energetic community in DC. Now I know that you have community in other cities around the U.S., if not the world, but DC is a very special place right now.
It is.
We think
Yeah.
that the best and brightest around the world are coming here.
It's a city in flux, a city in movement, a city that's becoming progressively younger and younger. A lot of new things happening. It's very, very exciting. I can't remember a time in Washington that I've seen anything quite like this.
And it's so diverse. It's an international destination. People of every stripe are here, and they all have great opportunities. And you know, with the leadership of a businesswoman like Chris, you know, more and more people are getting opportunities, and you never know when that connection socially might lead to an opportunity during your day job. Okay? Because it is at the end of the day.
It's so dynamic. And what you two are doing together, this relationship that you forged to host an Impromptu Lounge, is so dynamic. And it really focuses on the two things that I think you are both saying you're seeing emerge. Not only is this a city where relationships really are the crux of so much business, politics, and everything around the city oftentimes is surrounded or based on relationships, but genuine relationships, and people miss that. They are genuine relationships, and that's what you're doing. But we're seeing an emergence of women leaders, female leaders, and entrepreneurship, and I think this relationship to me sort of embodies both of those things, and it brings them together in a really beautiful way. And so we just want to thank you for doing this and for hosting this. And if you could share, is there a way for an audience to learn about how to get in touch with you, possibly for other events, and then you for the Impromptu Lounge?
Well, they can always call the restaurant. I'm not as familiar with Facebook. I guess they can ask to be friends.
Yeah, Facebook.
I'm still
Ricchi
learning.
has
Facebook,
a fan page.
It's Ricchi Restaurant.
The letter I, space RICCHI.
Yes,
Perfect.
correct.
So
Yes.
it's easy to get to.
Yes, yes. So they can, and that's where we post the events.
And if you happen to be a female,
Yes.
there are special deals that you offer on Tuesdays.
Oh,
You bring
yes.
together the women's
My
business
women's
community.
club. Yes.
So
yes.
that's a cool thing.
Yeah,
When's men's night?
It's perfect.
Just kidding.
You know, every night's men's night. You know that. You know that. No, and the Women's Club, I'm glad you mentioned it, because the Women's Club started back, I initiated it or inaugurated it on March 8th for the International Women's Day. And I wanted to do something to celebrate it, because it was something, I think it's becoming more and more popular in the States, but it's definitely something that they've celebrated in Italy all the time. So I wanted to make this a really fun time, and it was my daughter who had said, "Mom, you've been talking about bringing women together. Why don't you take this as an opportunity to reach out?" So that's what we did. So on Tuesdays now, we're offering 50% off for women, at lunchtime, cocktails, dinner.
Any woman who comes in?
Any woman.
It's an awesome deal.
As long as she's female, 50% off. And it has been, the response has been fantastic. So many women are telling me that they love coming, they really appreciate the opportunity. Today at lunch it was a dining room full of women, but large tables of women who were, again, connecting. This was a reason for them to finally get together. And the reach for that too has been awesome. I mean, we're getting young paralegals, and last Tuesday we had the Secretary of State. So the
Hillary Clinton, the former First Lady, rolls in for half price Tuesday.
And you know,
unbelievable.
And so your website, do you have a website that we could share?
I do. You can go to www.ericchi, that's IRICCHI.net.
Great.
And you can sign up for the Women's Club.
Perfect. And then Tony, how would we get involved in your specific network, if at all?
Well, through Chris.
Great.
But I should also mention two of our former co-hosts, Amanda Dethridge and Julia Bellafiore. So they both have their own community, and if you Facebook friend Amanda Dethridge or Julia Bellafiore or myself, you can become part of the community.
So get connected. So I think one of the lessons here today is social media and the power of social media, and how we are able to utilize social media to connect in a professional manner. It's not for 15-year-olds anymore, and it's not for just college students from Harvard anymore. It really has been a driver for building and forging relationships and also bolstering business. And so we thank you again, and we're so glad you're actually our first highlight from a restaurant perspective in the Washington, D.C. area. And we're going to continue this forward, but you'll know now forever you're our first one, and so thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Grazie, Lindsay. Grazie, Jerome.
Of an evening with Ricchi Restaurant in Washington, D.C. It's in the Northwest Quadrant in DuPont Circle. It's a lovely area, and it's an incredible place that gives you a real Tuscan feel of Italy, based largely on the experience that Chris has had, the owner and chef, has had having lived in Italy for about 17 years. And this is a second segment because there's something we really wanted to highlight, and it's the fact that this August she is bringing in a chef, a female chef, directly from Italy to cook.
Yes.
And create menus.
Create menus. Yes. Probably do some cooking lessons as well.
Oh, that's great. I need them.
Well, I think it's something that everybody could probably use a little bit of.
Yes. For sure. So tell us, what brought you to come up with the idea, and how do you know her? I mean, how does this even happen?
Well, her name is Eleonora Uccella, and I met her here in Washington, actually, when she had come to cook at some events here. And I met her, and we hit it off immediately. She's a young, dynamic chef. So for me, it was great. I had an opportunity to speak Italian, which I don't do very often. And we started talking, and she was intrigued with what I had done here, and I was intrigued with what she does there, because she has a cooking school, but she also has a TV program on Italian televisions where it's a daily TV program where she teaches cooking. So talking after a little while, I had invited her with the idea that she come for the month of August. She'll be here actually for about 6 weeks, and I thought this would be a great way to create a little excitement here in the neighborhood during a month when things are usually a little quiet. Right. And we have a lot of things planned, so I'm really, really excited about some of this new energy that she's going to bring.
That's so great, because most people just exit DC for the heat and vacations, and so this is great. This is a new spin. This is a great out-of-the-box way of dealing with the heat and humidity of Washington, D.C. by bringing in someone from Italy to cook, and not only to cook, but to teach us all a new skill and a new craft. So I think that's a wonderful use of your space and a great idea, creative idea. And it also brings in the culture of our city, right?
Yeah. And I found that it seems to me, at least in my experience over the last several years, that more and more people are staying in town, or if they go away, they don't go away for as long. So there really is still a market here in the month of August.
Yes, I've heard this coined the staycation. And so they can have a staycation and still get an international flair by coming to Ricchi.
So maybe we should call it our Tuscan Nights in DC or something like that.
I love it.
But she will bring some very authentic, truly authentic Tuscan cuisine to the city. So we're looking forward to it.
Humid Tuscan sun. I'm not sure, there's something here. I can feel it. But at any rate, how would people find out about specific events around your guests for this restaurant during the month of August?
Well, they can always call the restaurant at 202-835-2021, or they can. We have a fan page, I think they call it, on Facebook, and that's Ricchi Restaurant. Again, that's spelled with an I, space RICCHI. So they can friend them. They can friend us there on the page, or they can friend me on Facebook.
Perfect. And she says that because Chris has really become a wonderful leader and representative for our community in Washington, D.C. and the greater area. So Maryland, Virginia, we really want to pull people together. She's done a phenomenal job in hosting new events, exciting things in the city. She's trying to pull together people from different areas, focuses largely on women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship in general, 2 areas of Washington, D.C. that continue to grow. And so we just are so thankful for you and the work that you're doing, and to be here at this hour after you've worked a long day and to still be visiting with us. I mean, that really shows your dedication to what's going on. And it has to be more than business, because people just don't take the time and energy to do this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's certainly been a shot in the arm for the business, but much more than that, it's been a very, very rewarding personal experience where I can speak to young women who are just starting out and to women who have some great experiences to offer, and offer them a venue where they can come together and start interacting, and the energy has just been phenomenal. The response has been fantastic.
So thank you so much, and thank you again. I mentioned this earlier, but this is the first restaurant for us to highlight, and it's a great honor for us to be able to be here with you. So thank you for opening your doors to us. And please stay tuned, because our next segment will cover sort of the expanding technology in the Washington, D.C. area, including Prince George's County and Maryland and District Heights, the city of District Heights. It not only includes some of the executives from a very prominent technology company well known as AT&T, but also from some of your local representatives, Commissioner Miller from the city of District Heights. So please stay tuned, and we'll have that next. So we just closed up an amazing evening at Ricchi in DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. Again, it's at N and 19th Street Northwest, and we shared in some of their food, which was phenomenal. It was fast food, so I was hoping for more, and also some of their wine, which was spectacular. They have a really amazing, very rich selection of wines, but we also learned so much more about what some of the local entrepreneurs are doing here in the city to connect, to communicate, and to offer their services to one another and partner in different ways, unique in different ways, and bringing more and more people together. So we look forward to seeing you next time, and hopefully we'll have more just the same.